Hello, everyone. You're listening to Jay Tahoe's Fabulous Podcast. And today's topic is it's going to be not caring what others think of you and not being such a nice person. And I know that sounds like, oh, why would I not want to be a nice person? It's not that you don't want to be a nice person. It's just putting your needs first, putting your needs, at the top of the totem pole, and once you're good and where you need to be, then you can worry about everybody else. And the point of this is not going to be that it's not good to help other people, because it is. And I think, like, if somebody needs your help, you should help them. But I'm saying that you shouldn't do it at the expense of yourself. But the first topic I want to jump into is it's not caring what other people think about you, and that's a tough one nowadays, because we live in a world that's there's social media everywhere. We see everyone's pictures, and everybody what people post on social media. That's their brand, right? That's the perception that they want other people to think about them. If you see somebody posting, pictures of all their vacations and so forth, that's what they want to communicate. I'm a fun person. I travel. I don't have a boring life. I mean, hey, look, I post pictures of my vacation and everything too, but it's a brand, right? More or less, your presence on social media, that's the perception of you that you're communicating to the world. And it's kind of, over the years, I guess people are faster to assume a judgment of me, of you, of anyone else. And I think it's an important thing that benefits everybody, is to care less what other people think. And for some of you, that's a hard thing, right? It's not easy. It's not always easy to not care what other people think. But what I want you to think about is, what benefit does somebody else having a good impression of you make? I mean, hey, maybe it's somebody you really care and respect. And I guess at that point, yeah, we care what our family thinks, we care what our friends think. But I guess it's just like this image that we have of ourselves that causes us to change our behavior, to go out of our way to do certain things, to dress a certain way, to drive a certain car. But at the end of the day, where do we all end up, right? We all end up in the dirt. So I think that, doing what benefits you in that moment, doing what makes you happy, regardless of what other people think, is important. I think internal reward is more important than external appearance. That's what I'm getting at here, is that as long as you're doing something that's fulfilling to you, and you feel that it's right, and it adds value to your life, then who cares what anyone else has to say, right? Example from my own life, something I really enjoy doing, a hobby of mine, is buying really crappy, junky cars and fixing them up so that I can drive them, right? I have, in my driveway right now, I've got this Audi that I bought for $800. It's all scratched up. It looks like a piece of crap. It's this 1999 Audi with, almost 200,000 miles on it. But the only thing really wrong with it is, it has a bad front axle, and I bought the front axle, and I'm gonna swap it out, and when it's done, I'm gonna be driving around in that, and it's a 20-year-old car now, and it looks all beat up, but to me, I don't really care if anybody sees me driving around in that. It's the reward of fixing it up, and knowing that I can take an $800 car and fix it up. But I've done it on a couple of other ones. It's not I don't need the status of having a newer vehicle, because I'd rather, knowing deep down, having that confidence that I can, repair a car that has problems to the point where it becomes drivable. That, to me, that's the internal reward outweighs what anybody might think of me driving around in that thing. I don't really care, to be honest. So I think that it's just a matter of what you're comfortable with. And there's going to be different degrees, right? But there's that cost benefit analysis, right? Like at the end of the day, it's what is getting the approval of others going to cost me, and at what point, and why do I want the approval of people more or less so that I've never even met? Why am I seeking their approval? And this kind of like goes into your two main your personality type, right? I think that this is something that that as humans we like to deny, that we the way it exists in the animal kingdom, right? We have we have alphas and betas, and this goes for men and women. We have kind of if you guys, I go out and observe people, right? And you're going to notice that there's in most groups, there's that person who kind of holds everybody's attention, and everybody's, it's kind of all eyes on that person, and they're kind of that that leader of the group, and it changes. It's relative. You might be the alpha in one group. You might be the person who has everyone's attention. You might be the person who does the decision making. But it's relative, right? So at work, me being in a management position, I'm kind of in that alpha position. But if I were to, let's say hypothetically, I were to go out and have dinner with a group of Fortune 500 CEOs, I probably wouldn't be getting as much attention, and I wouldn't feel like I was the person who I guess was more or less so in charge in making the decision making. And I think that and it's not a bad thing or necessarily a good thing to be in either group. But I think it's an important thing to understand when it comes to getting what you want out of life. That the people who tend to care less what other people think, they usually have more of those alpha qualities. They're usually the people who are, who I guess are the leaders, because they're not really they're motivated by gain and not by fear. And so the people who care less what others think, they don't have that fear of that judgment. They just kind of do what they do what they want, right? As long as it's not, well, in most cases, as long as it's not hurting anybody else, they lead. They don't do it by being a dick to other people. Some do, and that's I don't agree with that. But I think when you have that alpha mindset, your mindset is kind of, I'm going to take care of me, right? My needs come first. I want to help everybody else. I will lead others to getting where they need to be. I'm not going to necessarily do the work for them, but I will, I will help them. I will give them advice, and as long as I'm taken care of, for example, right? Like let's say that you have a friend who wants you to help them move, but you have something that you really want to do this weekend. You've had a concert that you bought tickets to. Your favorite band is in town, and you bought tickets a month ago. There's a lot of people out there who are gonna drop what they're doing to help their friend move. And sure, you're being a good friend, and yeah, I would I would help him move if I didn't have those tickets. But what I'm saying is that when's that band coming back? When how many hours did you put in at the office to get yourself financially situated so that you could have the money to go see that band? the point of this podcast is not to go be a dick to people. Obviously, you want to help everybody you can. It's just to be conscious of, how are you getting what you want in life? And if you're not, is it because you are putting the needs of others above your own? And are you putting the needs of others above your own because you fear some type of judgment from others, or what they might think? Is it motivated by, if I don't help my friend, they're not going to want to be my friend anymore because they think I'm a dick, or they think that I'm selfish? Is that it? Because if the friend was really your friend, then they'd understand, like, you had something to do. You would help them move if you didn't have something to do, but you do. And it's kind of like you gotta ask yourself, the people in your life, are they, how supportive of you are they? It's friendships, all relationships are a two-way street. And I think that holding yourself and people accountable in your life, it's a really important thing. I think it gets you a lot further, and I don't think it makes you a bad person to put your needs first. To take care of yourself and be like, hey, I need to do X, Y, and Z to get myself where I need to be it, financially, emotionally, physically. Maybe I need to go to the gym first. I need to go to the gym today before I can hang out with you guys. Before, and people might think like, he's a jerk. He just puts going to the gym first. Like, it's such a superficial thing. But what better, you're going to be healthier. You're going to look better. You're going to have more confidence. So when you're sitting there with that six pack, you're going to be the one reaping the reward. So in that situation, I'd ask myself, what benefit do I get from doing what I want to do and working hard and going to the gym? What benefit do I get by, doing what everybody else wants to do? And you find the balance, right? I mean, like, yeah, you don't want to be like that person who's just always, focused on, whatever it is, their career in the gym. I think you do need to find a work-life balance, but it's about finding the balance that suits you the best. Obviously, you still have your part in the relationships in your lives. You still, you still need to hold yourself accountable to being there for your friends, your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, your domestic partner, what have you. But I think it just comes from, finding that balance. But and again, you guys have heard me say it on so many podcasts, drawing that line. It's saying like, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to make myself successful. And after that's done, after I'm good, I'm down to hang out. I'm down to help you move. I'm down to, do whatever. It's just, having more of that alpha mindset of, I'm going to get myself to a point where I'm competent and successful, and then I'm going to help you get there too. I think that goes a long way in personal development. Because, and if you have more so of a beta mindset, it's okay. I mean, for when you go out, not every, like, you go to the animal kingdom, right? Not everyone, not every chimp in the pack is going to be the alpha chimp, right? 80% of the population has to have that beta mindset. It's in order for there to be leaders, there has to be followers, no doubt. And I'm not saying that it's inherently a bad thing, but I'm saying when you become self-aware of it, it keeps you from a point where you're being taken advantage of. Because if you get too much into that mindset of being a follower and of just basing everything you do on what the opinions of others are, I think that opens the door to being taken advantage of. Case in point, if let's say you do, help that person move, despite them knowing that you have tickets to that concert. Yeah, I mean, they may be appreciative and let you know you're appreciated in some way, but I think deep down on a subconscious level, it kind of communicates, you're more important than me, and going forward, like I'm gonna put you first, over me. And there's varying degrees, but I mean something like that where you had plans, you spent money and so forth. If you're putting other people's needs above your own, I think on a subconscious level, it communicates to them that you value them more than you value yourself, and that's what this is all about. It's valuing yourself. It's having that mindset that I am a valuable person, and my needs are important. My goals that I want to achieve are important. It's and again, to reiterate, it's not about disregarding the needs of others. It's just about drawing that line and putting yourself first. Because at the end of the day, right, life is short, and you want to make sure that you're getting what you want out of life. We don't have a long time on this planet, and you will be a lot happier, and I think the people around you will be a lot happier too. I think it goes hand in hand that when you do that, when you draw that line, other people will respect you more. I think that you will start to see that when you put yourself, when you invest the time to make yourself successful, and then people see you getting what you want in life, and they see you've become a successful person. I think that the respect, and it's a byproduct of not caring what others think. Ironically, the less that you respond to the judgment of others, I've found in my personal life that the more positive it becomes, because I'm busy doing focusing on my career and my success and going to the gym. And I had some for example, last year I lost about 20 pounds when I got a new job that involved a lot of driving around from place to place, into a different state. So getting the job, I'd put on a lot of weight in the first couple of months. I'd put on about 20 pounds in about 3 months, and I caught it, and I was like, whoa, I'm not fat, obviously. I'm not that big of a person, but still, putting on 20 pounds in that period of a time was it was noticeable. You could see, like, I guess my face, had a little. I just looked like I had a higher percentage body fat. So I was like, oh, okay, I need to put some time into going to the gym, maybe going for a run a couple of nights a week. I'll run 2 miles, watch my diet, a little more, because I was not eating very good. I mean, in a job like that, it's hard to avoid fast food sometimes because you're on the road, but, I had to hold myself accountable, and, as a byproduct, I wasn't really hanging out with my friends as much because I was busy with work and everything. But I had some nice gym results. I put up some pictures because I was proud of the results. When I was starting to get a little definition, my stomach was flat again. I lost the little gut that I had, and I was getting a lot of compliments, like oh, you're looking good, and when like that, I wasn't doing it really for for anybody else but myself. I think about the benefits. Now I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to have more energy. I'll probably live longer. I had for a while I had some blood pressure problems. My blood pressure was in like the stage 1 hypertension phase, but I was able to basically reverse that by making these changes. And I'm still conscious of it. I still monitor my blood pressure and make sure that it doesn't creep back up there. A lot of it was just the lifestyle changes. But my point in being is that, I had kind of a higher quality of life because I started putting my needs first. And I have a great group of friends. They're understanding that we don't hang out that much because we're all busy professionals. We all have things to do, and I think we have a healthy balance of putting our needs first, taking care of business, and then taking care of others. Because it's also a great feeling, to be able to help out others, right? To have that confidence where hey, if you need help changing the brakes on your car, I can help you, and I have the tools. Let me see when I'm free. I think that I feel a reward when I'm able to help somebody out with something, save them some money, help them out. But my needs come first. I'm not going to be doing changing the brakes on your cars when mine are squealing and my pads are when I've got metal touching metal and my pads are touching my rotors. I've got to deal with mine first, right? Because if I try to deal with you first, now who's to say my car isn't going to have a problem as I'm driving to your house? The rotors, the pads are touching the metal rotor, and it sparks up and lights my tire on fire. Now nobody's car is working. So by putting myself first, I've actually helped us both in that given situation. You guys see what I'm saying? It's just a matter of putting yourself first, taking care of your needs, and then helping others. And with it, the byproducts come. You become more successful. You get more of what you want. You can sleep better at night, and then people respect you more as a byproduct. And I think your relationships with people actually become stronger because they trust your judgment more. They know that you're a competent person who takes care of business, and that they can confide in you. I really think that it's kind of a snowball effect. It builds momentum, and it's so if you think that you have a more passive personality, quote unquote beta personality, and that you are letting people walk all over you or take advantage, or you're just not getting what you want out of life because you're putting other people first. It's not something that changes overnight. Like for me, when I became conscious of it when I was younger, it took it took years, honestly, to kind of train myself, because I was the pleaser. I was kind of just focused on pleasing everybody else, and I would put everybody before myself, and it took years and years of realizing that does not gain you respect from anybody, and that it just opens up the door to being taken advantage of. And I have nobody to blame for it but myself. But as soon as I became conscious of it, I had to ask myself, whenever I would go to out of my way to help somebody in the future, I'd be like, all right, would they do the same for me? And what's the cost to me? And what am I gonna be missing from my life if I go through with helping them? Is this harming me in any way, shape, or form? And if the answer was yes, I kind of had to catch myself and be like, yeah, maybe I can do it once I've taken care of my homework, or actually I have tickets to the concert next Saturday, so I can't help you then. But if you're free another day, then I can come by. And as that started to happen, I think, I think people respected me more. I started getting, more promotions at work, and people, just viewed me more as like a competent leader. And I think I was always raised, to be a gentleman and to open the door and help people out. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But, I used to go out of my way to just, hold the door for people, and I think it's a good thing. But I'm not going to sit there for a minute while people are gathering their things like I used to. I've become conscious of it, and it's in the rear view mirror now. So my advice to everybody listening to this is to just put your needs first. Still help everybody. Still be a good friend. Be a good child. Be a good father, mother, what have you. But take care of yourself first, and it will pay dividends. You will get yourself to a point where you don't care really what people who don't know you. You won't care as much about their perception of you, and you'll feel that sense of internal reward by doing things that add value to your life. And guys, like, I don't think it's possible to entirely not care what other people think of you. I don't think that's really a realistic thing. We all it's human nature, but what I'm getting at here is becoming conscious of it. When you become aware of this, and you become aware that, I'm just doing this because people are going to view me in a certain way, and then you do what you want anyway, then I think at that point, that's when you start to feel more confident in yourself, and you start to do what you want, and you get more out of life. It's all about finding a point where you're comfortable. I understand that. Like, there's plenty of people whose opinions that I value, and they may disagree with me, but I hold that line. I take their argument into consideration. Around mine. I may not be. Sometimes I may be swayed, but by what they have to say, and sometimes I'm not. But the important thing is that I put my needs first. I listen to what they have to say, and I make my final decision based on the two arguments. So that's really all that I had for today. Those were the two topics I really wanted to go over. And they go hand in hand, because the less that you care what other people think, then the more you will start putting your own needs first. So just meditate on this one, guys. Think about it, and start living for you. We don't have long on this planet. I want to make sure that my life kicks ass, and I'm sure you do too. So wherever you are in life, just know that you can just making a change like this. If you're not comfortable with the way other people respect you and treat you, it can change once you become conscious of it, and once you start working to change how you react. You'll start to see the changes. And another thing too is if you do have toxic people in your life, don't be afraid to let go. I mean, if you've made every attempt. Let's say you have somebody in your life who's a drug addict, and they're just getting worse and worse. I'm not saying to abandon this person. What I'm saying is that make every attempt you can to help them. But if they're just not being receptive and not listening and not getting help in the way that you're advising them to, think about what damage they could cause to your life, right? If you or let's say you have somebody who's stealing from you to fund their drug habit. Being an enabler only hurts them and you. You're having your money stolen, whatever problems are happening, and they're getting worse. They're becoming more dependent on the drugs and may end up dying as a result of an overdose. So hold that person accountable, and after if you've tried to get them help and they're not being receptive to the help, it's hard, and I know this is hard, but don't be afraid to walk away. Let the person know that, is it really worth it? If you valued our friendship, you'd stop doing, or whatever it is. If you valued our relationship, you'd stop doing this. Obviously, I understand that a hard drug addict is not going to be able to just stop, but you'd at least be receptive to help. Maybe you'd check yourself into a halfway house or rehab. So that's what I'm getting at, guys, is there are going to be people who, no matter how assertive or how much you put yourself first, are still going to try to take advantage of you. And when those people, when you have those toxic people in your life, don't be afraid to cut them out. Because at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, would they do the same for you? And if they're treating you like that, the answer is probably no. The answer I can almost say is most definitely no. They would not. Anyway, I will leave you guys with that thought. This has been Jay Tahoe's Fabulous Podcast. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. And I will talk to you all soon.